Hello and welcome back to the GB Fantasy Football channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how Game Week 3 went for Fantasy Premier League. We're going to be sticking to that one for this video. Of course, there's plenty of other fantasy content out on the channel, so do go check it out if Sun Dream Team is more your forte. But we're going to be seeing how Game Week 3 did indeed go points wise, how the transfers that I made affected my week, and what potential strategy I'm going to be employing and deploying going forward. Now, thank you very much for the support on the previous video. It's greatly appreciated. If you could smack the subscribe button, hit the like, thumbs up, and hit the bell notification, complete the perfect hat trick, be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's crack on with the video. So once again, thank you very much for the support on the previous episodes and videos on my channel. We're closing in on 1.5k subscribers. So if you could hit the subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated. Now, onto the team on the screen. It was a decent week. I think I got 54 points overall, but it started so well and it could have gone so much better. Starting off with Sanchez in goal, 6 points, a clean sheet away. No, sorry, at home to Fulham. I knew I'd get something wrong eventually. At home to Fulham, a very dubious clean sheet according to some, but a clean sheet nonetheless. And that's 2 out of 3 so far for Chelsea, both at home this season, only conceding 1 out of the 3 games so far, if I'm not mistaken. So they're looking solid defensively. Of course, it wasn't the haul that Chalobah got, but 6 points, I'll take it. And so far, so good for Sanchez in goal. I think that's 6 points, 3 points, and 6 points. So 15 points over the first 3 game weeks. Nothing to be sniffed at. Back three, Pedro Porro picking up some much needed defensive contribution points. He ended the game with 9 defensive contributions. He got took off in the 71st minute, I'm tempted to say, despite them being a goal down in that one. Thankfully, he found a few overnight and did get the extra 2 points. So 4 points overall for him. Solid return. That's 2 clean sheets for Tottenham out the first 3 game weeks and a 4 pointer in the one that they conceded. It's a very good start. Could they have gotten away with someone like a Van der Ven, who was 4.5 million at the start of the season, and potentially put that extra million elsewhere? Perhaps, but it's one to monitor going forward. Tarkowski, the DEFCON monster, defensive contributions coming out of his ears at the start of the season. It's hit him in every single fixture so far. You can't really ask for more than that. It was one of them ones where at the start of the season I didn't know if I was going to go with him or not. I debated heavily. Of course, the Branthwaite injury news came out and it did put a spanner in the works, but I plumped for him regardless. It was 5.5 million, so it was quite a chunk of change going into the defence, especially with Porro as well. But so far, so good. He picked up a clean sheet in the previous week, home to Brighton. This week, unfortunately, conceded twice away to Wolves. A fixture I actually thought they had a good chance for a clean sheet in, but 3 points. He's picked up 12 points. Not too bad throughout the season. I think a little bit more. It was on 4 points, but because they conceded twice, it knocked him down to 3. And he's a solid option. For those of you who are going on to a wild card for Game Week 4, I'd definitely say he's one to monitor. And Nico Williams, one of the biggest disappointments in my team so far this season. Forest yet to keep a clean sheet despite a good data going into the season. He's played every game, he started every game. You've got Murillo, Milenkovic, who were supposed to be DEFCON monsters at the start of the campaign, falling short. Williams at 5 million, he might be moved on. If the clean sheets don't come, they've got a few decent fixtures coming up. If they're not keeping clean sheets in them ones, especially with the Europa League campaign looming, he's definitely one who's on the chopping block going forward. Into midfield, we'll start off with Tijani Reinders. Disappointing 2 pointer. Potentially could have had an assist when he played the ball into Haaland for a shot from outside the box, but besides that, looked quite quiet, and that's 2 weeks in a row now. Bar his goal and an assist in the first game week, he's really flattered to deceive. Started well, but fallen off quite quickly. Mo Salah, only the 3 points this week. I didn't expect too much against the Arsenal defence. They're normally shut up shop. It's very hard to beat. Of course, Liverpool did pick up the 1-0 victory due to a Dominic Szoboszlai fantastic free kick from about 30 yards. But Salah in that game looked quite quiet. Calafiori did a good job on him. Obviously, Alexander Isak has now come through the door. Ekatike already there. Florian Wirtz have got a lot of attacking talent, and I'm intrigued to see how Salah fits into that going forward. If he doesn't pick up his performances, bar the 101st minute assist away to Newcastle, I think a lot more people would be looking to shift him out for the coming weeks. But with a few decent fixtures looming on the horizon for Liverpool, he will stay. Kudus, one of my transfers in this week, blanked. Not ideal. The player I would have brought into this position this week would have been Ismail Assar. He finished on 7 points. He got the goal away to Villa. It seems like he scores or assists every time he plays them. But he has picked up an injury between 4 to 6 weeks with a grade 2 muscular injury. So I have lost out on 5 points this week, but long term, I potentially saved a transfer. And Bruno Fernandes, last minute penalty. It was looking really bleak. He's picked up defensive contributions once again. He's a DEFCON monster. He's still on penalties, which is very good. There was worry about Cunha or Mbumo taking the penalties off him, but he stayed on him. He slotted it away, unlike the week before, away to Fulham. That could have potentially been 2 goals in 3 for Bruno Fernandes. Even in this game, he should have scored multiple times. He should have got the assist when Casemiro hit the bar. He plays deep, yet he still picks up points somehow. I can't tell you how exactly, but he just does. It's magic in some ways, and I know how irritating it can be for some others who don't own him. He's a 90-minute man and on penalties, and I know a lot of people have said that's luck, but I picked him for those exact reasons at the start of the season. It was 9 million. He wasn't cheap by any stretch of the imagination, and thankfully, 10 points whilst he was my captain as well was really handy. The front three, Chris Wood and Ollie Watkins, blanking this week. Chris Wood was brought in as one of my other transfers. Nothing to shout about really, didn't look too great. Ollie Watkins is just awful, really bad. He potentially could have scored in this game. The ball went through on goal, nearly lifted it over the goalkeeper, got a solid hand to it, but besides that, Villa haven't scored a goal this season. They brought in a few transfers on deadline day, Harvey Elliott being one of them, potentially to play in the number 10 role and unlocking Morgan Rogers to play on that left hand side. But he's definitely one to monitor, especially for that 9 million price bracket. And João Pedro, a really good started the season with a really good asset that I've had in my team since the start of the season. He's had 2 goals now, got the goal and an assist last week, got the headed goal this week, max bonus points because of his clearance off the line in the latter stages of the game. Only 7.5 million at the start of the campaign, quickly rising in price. With Cole Palmer not in the team, a lot of the creativity and a lot of the goal scoring aspects are falling upon his shoulders. So I'm very thankful that I've got him in my team. And onto the bench, 3 blanks pretty much. Dubravka with a 2-pointer. Jorginho Rutter coming off the bench, so he is fit despite a small price decrease from 6 million to 5.9. He's an okay asset to have around. Is nothing that I'm looking to get out really quickly, but if a opportunity arises, he will potentially be one that I shift on. Esteve, same with Dubravka, conceded 3 times away to Man United. Wasn't a game I was expecting points. And Chris Richards of Crystal Palace picking up a 8-pointer on my bench, unfortunately, who would have never have played ahead of the 3 that I did play. Porro, Tarkowski and Williams all having very good fixtures across the board. 2 home fixtures and away one for Tarkowski at Wolves. So he wouldn't have played. I would have actually backed Aston Villa to score in that game. But once again, Richards picking up defensive contribution points on top of a clean sheet. I think he's a really good asset. I know I would have been disappointed with myself if Mark Guéhi would have gone to Liverpool instead of picking him at the start of the season, because then I would have had a 4.5 million Liverpool defensive asset knocking around for future use. Fortunately for myself, unfortunately for Liverpool fans, he didn't quite make the move. Palace pulled the plug. So I've got Chris Richards and I'm very thankful for that. With some good fixtures coming up, I think they've got Sunderland and Burnley, if I'm not mistaken. Good fixtures going forward. I'm glad I've got him in place for them, where many will be wanting to transfer in some Palace assets going forward. The team's looking good. I've got 1 extra transfer going into game week 4. Might be a roll, but we'll see how the players come back after the international break. The data and the slides in today's video are coming from not only fpl.co.uk but also Fantasy Football Hub. This is not a sponsored video, but do go check out those websites for all information and data-driven queries. Now, this thing on the screen at the minute, the graphic that is, these are all the players currently over the first 3 game weeks to score 20 points or more. Now, a few interesting things to note. You've not really got many of the big hitters here. Haaland has snuck onto this. Of course, Saka and Palmer have both fallen to injuries, and Mo Salah isn't here either. Only only Haaland is above 9 million in price on this graphic. Now that is going to change, of course, it is throughout the season. Those two that I just mentioned who got injuries will come good at some stage, and of course Alexander Isak will get some playing time now that his transfer from Newcastle to Liverpool has gone through. But currently, this graphic is very much weighted towards defenders and goalkeepers with not a lot of strikers. Striker-wise, you've got João Pedro with 26 points. You've got Haaland with 24 points and Ekitike with 22 points. But defensive-wise, you've got Lacroix, who should have 2 more points. He should have 2 more DEFCON points, but because their game against Villa was the last one of the game week, they didn't get added. Not fair in my opinion, and it needs to change. You've got Mark Guéhi, of course, a fantastic goal in that same fixture that I just mentioned. Senesi, a DEFCON monster. Timber and Calafiori. Now, both of them will come from their goals and assists and the double clean sheet in the first 2 game weeks for Arsenal. Chalobah being the second spot as well. He picked up a goal in game week 2, a clean sheet in game week 1 and 2, and he picked up an assist and a clean sheet in game week 3. So he's really started the season exceptionally well. There's not many standout options here. Now, we're all looking for those big premium assets to come through and help us all out. But as you can see, someone like Semenyo started the season at 7 million, is already up to 7.4, despite blanking in game week 3 away to Tottenham. Took a few good saves from Vicario, who is also on this list. Now, I was mentioning earlier about dropping down to Van de Ven instead of Pedro Porro at the start of the season and saving that 1 million. Vicario, 21 points in the first 3 game weeks. If he's not keeping clean sheets, he's getting save points. Across the board, someone like Jaden Anthony, 5.5 million at Burnley. How many of these players would have been on our radar at the start of the campaign? Cullen being another one. So it's interesting to note and see a few of the players that we didn't expect that have come out of nowhere. They've started the season well, and August has been fruitful for them. I'd be intrigued to see how this list holds up at the end of September when all the players are back and the season really kicks into gear. You always feel in August a lot of the teams are still struggling to get used to things, the systems, the managers, the new transfers. So I think the Haaland one is one to note, especially going forward with regards to Salah. Maybe that price. Maybe you're looking at transferring Salah out and bringing Haaland in if he's not scoring the points. Palace defenders looking good. Apparently Burnley midfielders are looking really good as well, but I won't be going there. Gakpo and Ekitike are one to watch with Isak coming through the door. How much game time will be affected? But if they line up, will it be Isak on the left, Ekitike up front? Will Gakpo continue in game week 4 with those good fixtures to come? And perhaps Ekitike drops to the bench. I can't see that personally. I feel like Isak, Ekitike and Salah front 3 is what's going to happen. How that will play out on the pitch, I don't know. But it's intriguing to see the points from the first 3 game weeks. And finally, for today's video, I just thought I'd bring up the fixture ticker for the next 6 game weeks. Might be 5 if I can't fit it on the screen. But it's the promoted teams looking like they've got some decent fixtures. Leeds being in the 2nd position. They've got Fulham away, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home and Tottenham at home in the next 4 game weeks. Wolves at the very top of the ticker despite having Newcastle away in game week 4. Leeds at home, Tottenham away, Brighton at home and Sunderland away in the next 5. But we're seeing the teams towards this top of the ticker slowly change over time. Arsenal, for example, are in 8th position. I didn't start any fantasy games this season with any Arsenal players and I didn't like it. I haven't liked it since I've set my teams in motion and they've always been either 18th, 19th or 20th. Of course, Man United away and Liverpool away would have massively impacted that. And with those 2 fixtures now out of the way, they're slowly creeping up into 8th position. Forest at home, City at home, Newcastle away and West Ham at home. 3 home fixtures out the next 4 games. So one to note on the Arsenal front, of course, Saka's still out injured. Gyökeres is still finding his feet. And I think Eze will end up playing on that left-hand side despite Martinelli once again dropping an absolute disaster class away to Liverpool. If you watch the game, you'll know once again how frustrating he is to watch, I should say, specifically as an Arsenal fan. He's really, really poor at the minute. Other teams, Brighton, want to know, right at the bottom of the fixture ticker, Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home, and Chelsea away in the next three. Bournemouth, speaking about them, they are third on this list, so you can see why a lot of people are hopping on that Semenyo bandwagon. Rightfully so. Brighton at home, Newcastle at home, Leeds away, Fulham at home. They are four favourable fixtures for Bournemouth going forward. Someone like a Senesi off that last slide, being a DEFCON monster, a defensive contribution machine himself, might be one to note. I think a few more people on wildcard will start ticking towards him. Maybe even a Trafford at left back as well. He's offered a lot of, but he's offered some at least, attacking threat in the first 3 game weeks. Aston Villa still high on this list. Everton away, Sunderland away, Fulham at home, and Burnley at home in the next 4. I think if it wasn't for the fixtures, a lot of us would be throwing our Watkins, our Rodgers, and players like Concert out the window in the transfer recycling bin. But you look at those fixtures and you think to yourself, can you hang on for just a few more game weeks? Will they eventually come good? And this is what we're all gambling on. And I can't see it at the minute. I really can't. I watched the game on Monday night at home to Palace. Villa just look poor. They look lethargic. They look tired. But I feel like once that first goal goes in, the floodgates could open. Europa League is going to start soon for Aston Villa, so I'd be intrigued to see how that shifts their team around. If Unai Emery is going to go for a more second string team in that competition and keep his main starters for the Premier League. But there's a lot of green there for them. Everton away isn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. Everton have started the season really well, specifically at the new ground that they've got. Their name slips away from me. But players like Grealish, Ndai, and Dewsbury Hall offering a lot of creativity, so I wouldn't expect Villa to keep a clean sheet there. But there's a few teams on there. City in 7th, Spurs in 6th, Chelsea in 9th. So one to note for those of you who potentially could have 4 Chelsea players currently, Mark Guéhi becoming a Chelsea player once more after his loan from Sunderland was terminated and he was recalled. So Brentford away, Man United away, Brighton at home, and Liverpool at home in the next 4 for them. It's going to be an interesting one going forward. I think once again the international break will throw up a lot more questions than answers for us. So if you do have more than one transfer, if you've got 2 or 3 going into game week 4, I think you are well set ahead of the game week 4 deadline. And that does indeed conclude today's video. Just a quick recap on my game week 3 team, the points that were scored, the points that were lost, and the points that are still yet to come with potential transfers and all chip strategy related things. Yet to play a chip, haven't played any of my free hit, my bench boost, my wild card, any of it. So I'm in a decent position. I think currently I'm about 1.6 million-ish. I know that's chopping and changing still points wise, but the last time I checked it was about 1.6, 1.7, which is a decent enough start. Of course, I'd like to be in the early 100, 200, 300,000 mark, but we're not quite there yet. Little boost by little boost, another green arrow going from game week 2 to game week 3 and game week 3 to game week 4. So the team is heading in the right direction. A lot of planning still to do, a lot of tinkering perhaps. Not sure when that free hit's going to come into play, so that will be needed when my transfers are being thought up and planned out. You don't want to bring in a player who's got a fixture on the week that you're going to free hit, because potentially that could drop them down in your thought process and their need to be in your team. So it's one to note. I think the bench boost out of those several boosters that I've just mentioned will be one that I'll just play. Potentially game week 8 I was looking at maybe, but I'm not too sure about that. That would rely on Burnley at home to Leeds, I think, at the time. But it's all still to play for, and that's what I like about the start of the season. Seeing how those newly transferred players as well fit into the new systems. Maybe a few budget options could come through that surprise us, and that would be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for watching. The socials are in the description below like they always are. TikTok, X and Instagram. Go check them out. I'm constantly over there posting stuff. So go and have a little look to see if you like what you see. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Hit the subscribe button if you have enjoyed. Sun Dream Team content, FPL content. Season's well underway. If you like any of it, Go check them all out. There's a lot of vast content across the channel. Hit the thumbs up if you have enjoyed today's video, and do hit that bell notification so you don't miss a future upload. Thank you very much for watching, and you'll be seeing me in a new video very soon.